listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. What? Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. Be focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redlining lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one. Cousin mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire. Anti-black we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country. The win. You need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. Be focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.
All right, welcome back to Reset Race, where we try to reset race in this society and teach you how to see race for what it really is, the structure that it is. Yes, it is man-made. Yes, it is bullshit, but it exists and people have suffered under it for centuries. So that's what we do here. And really quick, we're going to introduce you to the squad. We're going to introduce you to the team, and we are gentlemen here and a lady. So we're going to do ladies first. Sam, what you got?
My name is Samantha Angelique. You can find me on Twitter at me17trillion. At least for now, I'm really considering starting a whole new page because I just want to let my freak flag fly and I don't want to offend anybody. So I might have to just start from scratch and do my thug thizzle. So I run We Will Not Suffer in Silence.org and resetrace.org coming soon.
Because that's how we get down around here. All right. Mud, what you got, baby?
All right, they call me Mud. You can find me on Twitter at Of Lineage. Also, I got a YouTube channel, Bitter Dose TV. I deconstruct lefty arguments and, make videos about it.
All right. So next up, John.
Yeah, my black ass back in the mix, back with my family. You know what I mean? ADOS, average Negro. You know what I mean? John C. You know what I mean? From Jersey. Twitter is John Danny OC. You can follow me. I really don't give a fuck. I don't care. But if you ADOS, you want to get some smoke to some motherfuckers, anti-reparations, left wing, right wing. You know what I mean? The north wing, south wing, whatever. If they out anti-reparations, let's go get them. But this show is about trying to get the left, right, and and grilling them. Because I feel like they're the biggest hypocrites in the country. And I feel like, if you don't call them out, nobody else going to do it. So I'm happy to be here with my family. I still never know why the fuck I'm here, but I'm here, and I'm here with my family, these brilliant people. And we about to cook some fucking leftists. You know how we get out. It is what it is.
John is underselling himself. We love John.
Well, today, I guess with this one, it's a little different because it's not just leftists. We about to cook the left, right, and we about to get into hashtag WePOC. White immigrant people of color. Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
I'm ready for this one.
All right, Sam, go ahead and flesh out the WePOC thing, okay? And so people get a taste of it before we get started.
Okay, so I have coined the term hashtag WePOC. So instead of BIPOC, it is WePOC. It is whites. I have changed indigenous to immigrants because I feel like I don't see a lot of indigenous people out here fighting against Black people. I see stuff like from the top, like with what they're doing with the tribes expelling Blacks. But when I see like when I see a lot of indigenous people, the majority I don't see coming at ADOS sideways. So I'm taking them out of this group. I'm replacing it with immigrants, people of color. So that includes Latinos, that includes Asians, Indian Asians, Chinese, Japanese, that includes Black immigrants. Y'all fall under hashtag WePOC, because what I see is a lot of you are out here building coalitions together and you are leaving out American descendants of slavery. We have very different histories. You come from different countries, you come from a different struggle. Your struggle is valid, but your struggle was not caused here. So you do not get to negate us, and you don't get to lump us all in together because we don't have the same struggles. And I'm excited about sharing this Vice video with everybody because this is a very mixed demographic of Latinos. In this group, there are people who consider themselves white Latinos, there are people who consider themselves Black Latinos, and there's actually a person here who considers themselves an indigenous Latino. So I want you to see the diversity within this group. If you see the diversity within this group, how can you put us in a group with them as if, so within their group, they all don't have the same needs, wants, or demands. So how can you address their issues and address mine when all of us need different things? So what you need to do is build real, authentic coalitions. You need to start going to Black Latinos and saying, what are your struggles in your community? You need to go to Black Americans and say, here's your reparations, because we already told you what we want. You don't have to ask us what we want. We've been clear. You need to go to indigenous people and say, hey, we already know that you have treaties that have been broken. How can we go back and fix these treaties? How can we fix these things that we've taken from you? And if we can't give you certain things, like, y'all got to go and have a conversation with them. Like, my family were kicked out the tribe, so I don't speak for them people. So you got to go and speak to them. And for every other group, the Vietnamese don't have a lot of money. You got to go to the Vietnamese. What does your community need? But the Vietnamese person who has $4,000 in Los Angeles doesn't need the same thing as the East Asian Indian person who has $455,000, but they're both still Asian. So white people, stop talking to me about class when you're not really addressing class, because everything that you bring up as a solution is not something that fixes class. Again, white people, you don't know what the fight is. So I'm going to take the time to tell you what the fight is and teach you how to fight your fight. Because if I'm going to stay in this country and if I'm going to have children in this country, I need y'all to fix your shit. Damn, was that the intro? Oh my God.
That's Sam. That's why we love Sam. All right. So we got a video here. It's called Liberal Latinos Debate Conservative Latinos on Immigration, Trump, and Racial Identity. Ooh, this is gonna be deep. This thing has it's from June 2019. It has 1.6 million views. So some of you have seen this. It's from Vice. Some of you have
and
seen
it's a two-parter. So we're gonna do part one.
Yeah,
I think we'll do part one tonight and maybe do part two next time, because this is gonna be a barn burner.
Yeah, this is gonna be a barn burner. And let's be real, folks. Some of you have seen this stuff and you don't want to tackle another issue you don't want to tackle. You want this microwave coalition bullshit where you just throw people together because they sort of kind of look like each other, sort of kind of speak the same languages, sort of kind of the same color. Well, this is we don't need no sort of kind of fucking coalitions. All right, Sam, let's go.
These are man-made borders. I don't care. I care about people.
Sadly,
period.
That's just the way we live. Like, there's a million Venezuelans that are in Colombia.
Yes, you care so much about American people. Congratulations. I'm not like that. I'm sorry. I do think about my community back home. You assimilate to Americanness, and that is
saying back home, but this should be home now.
You should want
this
to
should
make
be
America
home.
great.
And please tell me when to stop, guys. If you hear something, let me know when to stop.
I host a show for Vice that's called Latinx. The whole idea behind the show is to really look into the stories and the voices and the issues that are typically left out of the conversation, right? Like what are people not talking about? One of the big things in the show is to break stereotypes, right? To really drive the point that our community is not a monolith. No, this is what we're looking into, and that's why you're here. Because we want to see and show the right side of Latinos, the left side of Latinos, and everyone that's in between. And maybe we can find common ground, maybe not. And before I start, I also do want to remind you all that 2020 is around the corner. And as you all know probably, our community has just become the largest minority voting bloc in the country. So all your answers today are literally worth like.
Sorry, I'm gonna be an asshole, but I had to break this down. Latino is not a race.
Nope.
Minority is a throwaway term. The largest ethnic group next to whites in the United States of America is American Descendants of Slavery at 36 million deep. Latinos includes Mexicans from Mexico. It includes it includes Colombians. It includes Cubans. It includes people from Spain. Just because you lump people in from all over the world does not make them a group. What they are doing is what they did with white people. For white people to increase their numbers, that's how y'all became white. So as time expanded, more and more of you became white. So in the beginning, whiteness was Protestants. It was English. When Irish first came, y'all weren't white. You were something else. You weren't black, but you weren't white. You know, Italians, y'all wasn't black, but you wasn't white. It was over time when it was you needed to come together so you could create economic barriers for Black people so you guys could prosper. And that we will talk about at a different time because I really want to flesh that out. So I'm sorry that I have to drop that and move forward, but that'll take forever. So that'll be a whole nother show. Yeah,
and let me drop this in there. Indians, as in from India, the nation of India, they went reverse, right? They were, when they first came here, they were considered Caucasian. But when during the civil rights movement, when it looked like we were going to start to get something, they decided to become minorities.
So again, minority is a throwaway term.
Term.
So again, I'm not trying to talk down on anybody, but this is a throwaway term. And no, the second largest group in America, ethnicity-wise, are American Descendants of Slavery at 36 million deep. So you can keep throwing people together into a pot, but we are the next largest group. And you still have to reckon with us.
That way.
And we vote that way. And you still have to reckon with us. And y'all better really be upset once I start getting in my people's ear. Because I've been quiet. I haven't had a voice online. I haven't pushed my voice out. A few people have heard me do a couple of drops on Twitter. So I'm here now. Y'all better be ready. Cool. So let me keep going, but I just had to say that.
I'm glad to ride your coattails. All right, let's go. I'm sorry, Mud, John, you got anything for that?
No, I'm good. No, I'm good.
All right, go ahead. All right, Sam, let's ride.
Millions of dollars for politicians that may be looking into this, right? So just keep that in mind. So let's begin. Very simple question. Raise your hand if you voted for Donald Trump. Okay, why did you vote for Donald Trump?
It was really hard to get behind him at first, especially with his rhetoric and the media and how he was portrayed through the media. I was definitely influenced heavily by that, but I also really did not like Hillary Clinton as far as policy-wise. So it was really hard to vote for Donald Trump, but now that we've had a few years of him and seeing his policies, I'm happy that I voted for him.
Well, I voted for him because I've been a lifelong Republican. A lot of my views aligned with what he ran on. I definitely did not like Hillary Clinton, and I stood against everything she stood for, which is the political machine in Washington. I wanted someone new, someone from the outside. And, you know, Trump is, he's not a spoken politician. The way he talks about things, the way he doesn't parse his words. And I kind of like that.
For those of you that did not vote for Trump, do you have any questions for them? For the ones that did vote for Trump?
Where do you begin?
I would love to answer that.
As a woman, how, Sway?
Well, I'm thinking that you're referencing to the one phrase that everyone loves to reference to about grabbing, right?
That phrase, just any way he treats his women, the way he treats his daughter, his rhetoric on Twitter, like anything. He's a creepazoid. But continue, go ahead, I'm listening.
Joe Biden's definitely not a creep.
Yeah, like there's plenty of creepazoids out there, like. But as far as, I'm just gonna use what most people use when they talk about that and him referencing grabbing women by the, you know, he was talking about women who let you grab you by that. And there's plenty of groupies out there that will do that, and they have been in existence for a long time. And they're gonna be existing for forever. So that's what he's referencing to. And me, being a woman, I don't carry myself that way. So I didn't feel any type of way about that phrase because I'm not letting people do that to me. So he's not talking about me. So I just, you know, like women who put themselves in that position and are doing that, like they asked for it. You know, that's what they're out there doing.
So you're saying, you're pretty much saying the same thing as a woman walking down the street with a miniskirt deserves to get raped.
No.
That's the same thing, honey.
No, that's not a groupie. That's not a groupie. A groupie is someone who purposely hangs out with people who are rich and with money and looking for handouts.
Whoa.
Yo, she right. Yo, hey, yo.
How does that happen? All right,
y'all go in.
What happened, right? I used to work in the music industry, right? I know there are groupies. Groupies do exist. There are groupies that enjoy being groped. Tis what it is, right? Not saying that's right, not saying that's wrong. There are women out there we all know there are women that are out there and men that want to marry somebody with wealth. And sometimes they go a little far with trying to attract that sort of person, right? So I hope I didn't burn my LGBTQ / feminism, womanism card. I hope I didn't burn it, but I'm just speaking true facts. Okay. So
and as for your feminism card, we gonna burn that shit down, because we gonna get into how feminism was created through acts of white supremacy. That was a backlash to Black men getting the vote. So that's a whole different discussion. But if y'all want to research it, Dr. Tommy Curry, he does a whole thing about how how feminism was a backlash to Black men getting the vote. But please continue.
Suffrage, absolutely. Susan B. Anthony with her trash ass. Yeah,
and Margaret Rutherford too.
Line her ass up too. Fuck Margie. All right, so the way she flipped that into, are you saying women with a miniskirt deserve to be raped? How? Talking to another woman. You know what I mean? I see that men get flipped on that. But talking to another woman, that's amazing to me. John Mudd, if you want to touch this one, I don't know if you want to. John, you got anything?
And I got one thing to say. I definitely want Cousin Mudd. I definitely got to hear Cousin Mudd take. I definitely got to hear Big Sister Sam take on this, man. But my whole thing is like, when I seen that amalgamation of people that consider themselves Latino, I think I I'm not as academic as y'all guys and anything like that, but I do got something that we all got. You feel me? That our ancestors passed down to us, called common sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of relate our life to. You feel me? Like, our ancestors, that's why we survived. We got something called common fucking sense. Yeah. That's why we still here, despite all the bullshit. So I'm looking at this amalgamation of people and shit. You feel me? That are Latinos. You got Black ones. That dude with the black shirt, like a straight up white dude, straight up, up and down white dude, and everything in between, right? So I look at it like
his official MMA shirt on and everything.
Word up, and that's probably why he's a Republican, because he has a white experience.
He like a straight up and down white dude. But at the end of the day, so my whole thing is I'm looking at this amalgamation and I'm looking at it. So I'm like, all right. So I'll try to flip the scenario on them. So you feel me? Like I flip the scenario on them in a real way, just to be like, yo, you see how we think? This is, you feel me? Like real shit. Like, see how you thinking? Say I'll flip the scenario and then I think the same way that you thinking, but I'm wrong for that. You know what I mean? So basically, say it was a mass exodus of people that are American. So this is basically people from America and Canada. You know what I mean? Like in the islands, people that speak English that left the West to move to England or something like that at a mass exodus. Like, you know what I mean? Like a real, so they consider them American immigrants. So you get a mixed mash of, like, even though we all got to America a certain way, some of them came through slavery, some of them was indigenous, they got mixed up, white people, you feel me, like real shit, but they was there for hundreds of years, then they moved to another country in mass numbers, they all mixed mashed up. You know what I mean? They all mixed mashed up. So first thing I'm saying is the Black woman is fucking, you feel me, that Black Latino is kind of embodying the Adolf spirit. Feel me? Because that's the majority of Black. She embodying our culture. Like, yo, child, yo, you feel me? Like real shit, because you know what I'm saying? Then you got the white dude acting like a white American. So basically, but guess what? They all Americans though. And say the most liberal party in that country is most like appealing to immigrants. So I make pathway to citizenship in England the best way. So even though we all speak fucking the same language, have similar, you feel me, we come from a similar land, that has different subcultures though. We're not even talking about that shit. How Black Brazilians is more Africans than Africans is in motherfucking Africa right now because of the way they was cut off from they. You ain't even talking about how Black Brazilians is the most African people on the planet.
Yeah, they are the second largest Black population outside
you don't
of
want
Africa. That's the truth.
Real shit. If you want to see how Africans acted in 1860 something, you gotta go to Brazil. You can't even go to Nigeria. They don't even act like that no more. So we ain't gonna talk about that. But I'm just saying that's the culture difference. But I mean, we was all Americans. Say America was all fucked up, and Americans started moving. You feel me? They started taking the best. Just like you're American, regardless of how you look or your color. You're American. You feel me? Like based off the British caste system, but we above the Irish now. You see that? Like, you know what I'm saying? And now you having now the Irish the bottom caste, and you got my black ass here. You got like 3 black people, 4 black people. You got 2 Native Americans. You got like 5 white people. Then you got niggas that's mixed up. You know what I'm saying? So see that? And you seeing that type of politics from our own native lands seep into you know what I mean? Like the countries that we move to for a better life. So like when you seeing it, I'm like, yo, so they not understanding. Like, you feel me? Like you seeing me as a black person clinging to the Black British population more. You know what I mean? Because you know, I mean, my kid, I was been there. You see the white people trying to, you feel me? The white people that was white in their country assimilate the white people more, and then you see the mixed people that was mixed but still was above black people trying to assimilate to white people more. Then you see, you know, like, and me trying to stay away from the Irish people and the black people who will culture assimilate, even though I know I'm black like them, but I'm not like y'all because I ain't been in England dealing with shit for thousands of years. You feel me? 200 years, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand they gonna look at me at the store like, nigga, get the fuck out of here. But that I start talking. Oh, where you from? You know what I mean? Like where you from? I'm from America. Oh. They're gonna treat me differently because they had to think about it. It's a guilt complex. Like they're like, you know what? I treat black people good because you know what I mean. Like I don't got to deal with this British black dude I've been oppressed for 200 years. This is a black dude though that's not really. I could deal with. You feel me? Like even though he a nigga, but I deal with him better than I deal with the native black person that I've been oppressed for 200 years. You see that complex? It's a whole. So when I seen that mixed match of like fucking people, feel me, different races and feel me, like real shit, like from different countries and all that shit. He from Dominican Republic. He from, you feel me? It's like he from Canada. He from Jamaica. He from America. They all speak English. You know what I mean? They all speak English. They all have, you know what I mean? Like the similar cultural ties because they speak the same language. Like you feel me? They speak like in the westernized English. Like, but we different. And then we so I just look at that like I was like. I just seen that shit like, wow, that was crazy to me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off. You know, I went off on a tangent. I'm sorry about that.
All good, bro.
I definitely want Cousin Mud to get into it. You know what I mean? I definitely want Cousin Mud and Cousin, you feel me, and Big Sister Sam to get into it with my bad, y'all. But that's how I looked at that shit. That shit
no
crazy.
problem, brother. You doing you
Word up.
We with you, brother.
Word up. I'm just saying though, so it be wrong for me. So when I go there as a black person going to Black England, feel me, to the black British dude that been there since 1850.
It's different. Your experience is different. Exactly. You don't have the same experience. I had to say the same thing to a chick. So I'm gonna keep it super, super short. But when the Cynthia Erivo thing happened, if you guys don't know, go back and research it. So basically, Cynthia Erivo, the one from Harriet, the one that they keep trying to force on us in Black movies, is anti-Black American. She's Nigerian American. She probably descends from slave traders. So she made a lot of disparaging comments online on Twitter about Black Americans, and then they picked her to play one of our Black American heroes. So when they picked her, I basically did a tweet, and this is why I don't do short tweets anymore. Now I make sure I flesh out as much as I possibly can because they literally took my shit and put it on aljazeera.com. So I basically was like, you should have picked a Black American. So I had a woman from London. Babe, can you turn that down up a little bit? The sound. Hold on one second.
You know, like I was saying, y'all, it's different. I ain't gonna lie, y'all know it's different. It's different, like, you know what I mean? Like, and if I was coming to Black London and look down on the Black British people like, yo, you been here for 200 years, maybe you're supposed to get our shit. And I'd be like, I'm supposed to get that shit too. They be like, yo.
Not bad, sorry about that.
I was like, my son was born here. He supposed to get that shit, and I'm supposed to get that shit. They gonna be like, nigga, no. They gonna be like, no. And
okay,
I'll eat that.
Let me jump back in so we can get back going through.
That's why I had to say that though.
No worries. I'm gonna start over from what I was saying. I was saying, okay, so if you don't know who Cynthia Erivo is, she is the person that they picked to play Harriet. So when they picked her to play Harriet, we were upset about it because Cynthia Erivo is anti-Black American. She's a Nigerian who comes from Britain. So she's a Nigerian Brit. And she came here and she basically on Twitter, she had made disparaging comments about Black Americans. So when she was picked to play one of our heroes, we were upset about it. It would be like a person who descends, and also she most likely descends from slave traders. So it would be the equivalent of a person who descends from a person who was part of the Nazi regime, who was part of the Nazi SS, playing Anne Frank. And on top of that, not only was she a descendant, she had said disparaging things about the Jews. So it's not just that she descends from slave traders, it's that she had said disparaging things about Black Americans as well. So that is where the issue was. So again, so I did a short tweet, and this is why I make sure I do long form and complete my thought processes, because they pulled my tweet and put it on Al Jazeera. And you can actually pull this episode up on Al Jazeera because they actually did a whole episode on it. So they pulled my tweet, and my tweet was basically like, you should have picked a Black American. So I had a Black woman from London reach out to me, and she was hurt by my statement because she was like, why would you discard us? And I said, I'm sorry, that's not it. And I explained to her about the Cynthia Erivo thing. And then after that, I said, you are a Black Brit. I know very little bit about Britain, Europe, England. I don't know a lot about Black Brits at all. I don't know your stories. I don't know anything about you people. I don't want you to come here and tell my stories. I would rather you come here and tell your story so I can learn more about you. She understood that because we're not the same. I said, we are not the same. You don't know what my experience is, and I don't know what yours is. I'm interested in it though. But when you fold us all into a box, then nobody's real story gets told. So do we want to pick this back up? Mud, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, Mud's up next.
I don't. They haven't really talked about anything I care about yet.
Okay.
I'm not going to get in between the conservative, liberal, what's happening with feminist shit. Let's move on.
For sure.
That's a good call.
Okay.
Always claim that Trump is outside the political realm of being bought. How do you see him as outside the political realm?
He came from the private sector. He didn't come from a lifetime of quote-unquote public service where these people make millions of... Don't get yourself confused. Bernie Sanders is a multimillionaire with 3 homes. Anyway, all I'm saying is that, yes, I see what you're saying, that they're all wealthy people, but at least he came from the private sector. At least he, worked himself for that money. And yes, I know you're going to say, well, he took $1 million loan from his dad.
This nigga white. That's a white man. I ain't gonna lie, that's a white nigga in America. That nigga white, bro.
He's a white.
He need to shut the fuck up, man.
Yet he's worth millions of dollars on a salary of $180,000 a year. Can you do the math for me on that? Because
let's twist it around now. For those of you that did vote for Donald Trump, what is the biggest misconception that liberals have about you for being Latino Trump supporters? What's the biggest misconception?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that the media paints people with a broad brush. And, when it comes to racism and stuff, they say, well, you're for this, or you like this, well, you're a racist then. And so you paint everyone as a racist when do you know what kind of friends I have? Do you know who my family's from? Do you know who I hang around with? Do you know what I stand for?
Do you even know me?
You can't just automatically paint everyone who's a Trump supporter as a racist, because honestly, that dilutes from real racism.
Right. What is real racism?
Real racism is right off the bat assuming things about a certain race or religion right off the bat.
If I'm gonna say something real quick. In the United States, when we talk about what we deem as politics, we tend to conceptualize it as Democrats, Republicans. It's a binary. So binaries can be very dangerous. So we have white, black, man, women, gay, straight. Someone in the binary, a group, will be privileged. Men, straight, so black, white, white. We live in this patriarchal, heteronormative world that is systemically racist. Racism manifests in many very different ways. And that is important for us to understand.
Maybe because you're manifesting it, because that's all you think about.
So real quick, the binary, anything that falls outside of the binary then becomes an other. So what I'm seeing in this argument is that we'll say, well, Donald Trump this, well, Joe Biden did this too, right? These are politicians. We're speaking in binaries, which is why I'm an independent. I lean more towards the left. To reduce politics, the governing of people, to this binary is extremely dangerous.
Do you think that by voting for Donald Trump, they're voting against the Latino community?
The Latino community isn't homogenous. That's why we're here, right? The Latinx community. There are class dispositions, right? There are gender dispositions, there are sexuality, there are differently abled folks. There are all these kind of levels and sociological concepts constantly playing at the same time. So to consider us the Latin community, I think there is no such thing as a community. There are communities of Latin people. So
hey Sam, can you cut it, Sam? I'm sorry, MG. Hey yo, can you cut it? Can you cut real quick?
On something else. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're perfect. Go ahead. No, you're good. Go ahead. Say what you need to say. Go ahead.
Oh my Jesus Christ, man. Jesus, man. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, man. Listen. I mean, like Mexican dude. I ain't gonna lie. Real shit. My bad. Well, I mean, Latino brother. He had some good points, man. He made some points about certain things, but that whole time that he was talking about our community is non-binary. If my community is not gender binary and LGBT binary, I'm like, yo, it's race in your community. It's Black Latinos, white Latinos. Y'all got shit like quadruples, quadruban. Real shit in the Negro community, we got something called. We got 3 classes. Like we got Negro. You feel me? And mixed. And even the mix, I say about over 80% of them consider themselves Negro. 20% consider themselves mulatto. Because the way we look at race in this country is different than the way they look at it. So 80%, even light skin, the lightest, brightest Negro is a Negro. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a Negro and shit. Like so we don't even light skinned people was black people to me. I don't care. We might feel like they might have certain privileges, but they still black people. You know what I'm saying? Like they know they black people. In this country. Yeah, in America. You know what I mean? Then you got white people. Then you got everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like so he's talking about some his race and so it's just trying to tell you that the country they come from, in their countries is different. So like I said, it's like he Canadian, he from Jamaica, he from Trinidad, he from America, and we all fucking moved to France. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause they all gonna say this, and they all just like, yo, they from North America, so these are American immigrants. They just lump us in the group. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you had 2 black, it's 2 black Latinos on there. It's 2 black Latino women. That feel me? Like, but that black Latino woman, you feel me? The 2 black Latino women was really hugging their culture, but still hugging on our culture too. Doppelganger. You feel me? Like, not because it's just because, you feel me? I'm not saying
it's not even so much that they're doppelgangers. It's just because they have no choice because they are reminded that they are black. No, and they're reminded that they're black in their culture because they experience racism in their culture as well from Americans.
But at the end of the day, like, so you come to America and you feel me, you was black in your culture. You come to America and you see our blackness, you see how the fuck we live, and you like, I'm black, but nigga, I got my shit though. Like I'm not, you feel me? Like it's still something about, it's like me going, like I said, if I go to England around the black Brits and all that shit, they got their black, shut up, they got their little trap and all that, but I'm still gonna listen to fucking Marvin Gaye in the house, and I got 2 black American parents talking in motherfucking you feel me, ABE or fucking like, they talking, whatever, they talking about AAVE, I'm talking that shit in the house. I go outside, cause I was grew up, feel me, I got a strong black British English slang accent, but in the house, that's my whole culture's surrounded by, in my home, by, you feel me, like where my parents came from. You know what I'm saying? I'm anchored in that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they not flipping it, on other brand, like, bro, you know what I mean? Like, because Americans, Black Americans, first of all, we don't got the money to move nowhere else. Because we live in the richest country in the world. We're the poorest people in the country, in the richest country in the world. You know what I mean? So being the poorest people in the richest country in the world means a lot of different things. You feel me? It means a lot of different things. It means that, like, okay, bro, I got my water's running, but I can't just I can't move to another country. Or feel me, like, I live in the richest country in the world. I don't literally, you know what I'm saying? Like,
John, you can't move to another state. Move to Alabama tomorrow. Move to Alabama tomorrow.
So the whole dynamic that for me, they ain't come from poverty. I'm not downplaying none of their struggles to try to get here. You feel me? Like real shit. I'm just like, when you get here, you got the most oppressed people. You feel me? You look down on them. You're like, y'all niggas been here. You've been to colleges. You not understanding our struggle and our history. I'm like, yo, fuck you. Real shit. Fuck you. So I would never go to your country and be like that. I feel like any Black American, even Black Americans that do well, our top 10%, the top 15% that could move to other Black countries and live a decent life, will never look down on the native the bottom cast of that population. We will connect with that bottom cast. For me, like real shit, feel like we gotta help them because we come from here. So our whole bond state is different, and I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like real shit, they don't see that shit. So I'm seeing it's from the United Nations. That feel me like real shit. That I ain't gonna lie, that motherfucker that white Latina lady with the black hair. You know what I'm saying? That she look good. But at the end of the day, she's talking some bullshit. So I'm like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like you know what I'm saying? And I know, like, I know real shit. Like, see that? You feel me? Like real shit. Like the things that manifest in our country manifest in other people's country. And like you said, Latinos is not a monolith. Latinos, you feel me? Latino society is really set up close to our society, but there's more colorism in that shit. I don't give a fuck what the fuck nobody said. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got the same mix in they different countries. It's like 80, feel me? So you're from 88 different countries because you speak Spanish, you Latino. You know what I'm saying? Like, we seen that whole panel was 10 people on that panel. It's 2 black people on that panel. I don't give a fuck. It's 2 black women. And you feel me? And one of the black women got on her traditional garbs on, not African garbs, they African inspired, but they from the specific country that she come from in Latin America. You know what I'm saying? Like, real, she wear that shit proud too. And then you got another black Latina, you know what I mean, just sitting there, kind of look, but she's still black Latina, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit, you feel me? Like, then you got like everybody that's in the mix, and then you got like 5 white Latinos right there in our face. And I'm like, yo, real shit, they moving to America, and they having the same arguments they would have in their own country. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. And let me jump in here too. So let me jump in, right? So no, I just want to jump in before I lose my thought because it's come in and out. So, okay, so Google, for those of y'all on the line, Google black man who tried to go to Canada and seek asylum. And he used the same reasons why Latinos and other communities, I don't want to just focus on Latinos because I hate that when people think of immigrants, they focus on Latinos. I'm just using Latinos because Vice did a conversation with them. And I think if you're going to talk about people, we should hear from them. So basically, he tried to go to Canada and say it's because, we're getting shot in the street. It's dangerous. I have to worry about, gangs and all of the stuff that people come here for, right? And people come here for economic prosperity as well, right? They told him, denied, get your black ass the fuck out of Canada, take your ass back to the US. That is self-inflicted. That is your own shit. So we can't even flee from our country and go somewhere else because they won't accept us. So when you tell us like, hey, you guys are being xenophobic. Listen, I can't run away because if I go to Mexico right now and overstay my visa, they're going to put me in jail. And after that, they're going to send me away. So I don't want to have an immigration conversation right now. I'll let the Latinos have the immigration conversation because maybe you'll understand how diverse of a conversation it is from them. But I just wanted to bring up that part of we can't do what y'all do. So that's a whole nother thing. And then for the part where they said how they come here and, they got it together. Why can't we? There's only one other group that has experienced any type of severe racism. And that's one group, and they're stopped by the 1940s. And if you don't know what it is, y'all need to research. But as for us, we dealt with white racial terrorism at every single step of the turn. If we built something up, they would come in and burn it down. They burnt down our towns. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, Forsyth County. They pushed Black people out of an entire, out of a whole county. The day freedom died, the Colfax murders, Colfax, Louisiana. There's like 3 or 4 in there. Look up the Red Summer of 1919. There's a, Duluth, is that Duluth? It's Duluth, is that I don't know what state it is, but it's Duluth. There's that I could go through Minnesota. A list. Yes, it was Duluth, Minnesota. So you can read Buried in Bitter Waters. You can read Sundown Towns. You can read, like I said, the Red Summer. Listen, no one has ever been targeted the way we have been targeted. Every time we built something up, people came in, lynched the people who were actually doing stuff business-wise and ran their families out of town. A lot of this land that you guys own, that you have these beautiful residential houses on, was stolen land from Black people. Native Americans are not the only people who got their land stolen. They ran us off, and then we couldn't even sell our land. And what were we gonna do? Go back and fight them when they just lynched a whole bunch of people? Y'all don't understand when people like, why are Black people doing this now? Because we are finally at a point where you guys can't run up in our community and lynch us. Okay, we couldn't even have done this in the 60s. In the 60s, y'all was still killing us randomly. Like right now, you might catch us one by one, but they're like, you guys understand, like into the 60s, y'all were coming at us in groups. Like now, every now and again, you might kill one of us, or with military and law enforcement. But before, y'all used to come to us in mobs and burn down our whole towns and kill all of us. And like, you guys don't even understand your history. And I think if you understood your history, you would be a little more, you would have a little more empathy. But you guys were monsters. Like what you see the Taliban as, and what you see all of those brown people that you like to vilify in other countries as being extremists, y'all were worse. Remember, the Nazis learned from America. That's where they got their stuff from. So I want to keep going because I don't want to get into the weeds, because like I said, we can have more of these conversations down the line because I'm a historian. So if y'all want to really know some stuff, we can go there. So is there anything else anybody else wants to get in?
No, I just wanted to, before you talk to Sam, know you're going to get some homework. You don't give me homework.
I always give you homework. You see, I bring up books, but I have to, because if I don't bring up... Well, but the thing is, if I don't bring up scholarship, people will just be like, oh, she's just saying things. No, I read books. Like, I was built for this. I've been training for this marathon. I've been training for this fight since 2012. So I'm not new to this.
That's what I'm talking about. Mud, you got anything?
Nah, it's just this dude is annoying with the glasses on. Like, he sounds like everything he's saying. He thinks everything he's saying is deep, but it's not.
No. The binary bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just rambling.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sam.
All right, I'm in.
Now I feel bad for rambling.
I would say the shit you already brought up, because like, I mean, yeah, he said that the Latino community is not a monolith. And then he started naming all this intersectional shit, like the gender shit and all this shit, but he didn't talk about ethnicity. He didn't talk about them being from different countries and like of their origins. Like, he didn't go into that, which is the shit that he needs to go into, because that's clearly where you see a lot of the divisions.
Yeah. And if you look at, I mean, you guys will get a link to this video, but if you look at this video, you could not tell these people were connected in any sort of way, right? Other than not being black.
Exactly. Exactly. No. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you're gonna see the video because they gonna hit us with the copyright anyways for using the audio. So we might as well show you the whole video.
Yeah. So
they're gonna take it anyway.
So if you look at these people, you will see that there is no way that they should be connected in any sort of coalition. Right? And you're gonna hear why as well by listening to the video, listening to what they're saying. Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely, I think it'd be voting against yourself
she
in a
said
type of way.
Something that I felt was very dangerous. She said racism is happening. I don't want to misconstrue your words, but you said something along the lines like racism is happening because we're manifesting it. I'm a woman of color. Racism happens to me every day. I have to be pendiente. I have to be aware of it.
Like, because in what way? Like what?
Okay,
can you tell us about the racism?
Let me finish? Thank you. It lives in my life every single day. As I walk, as I get dressed, as I go to a store, as I go to a supermarket, every little thing that I do, race plays a part of it in my life as a woman of color.
So would you?
So you can't, again, thank you, appreciate you. So you cannot say that I'm manifesting.
You hitting them with the Maxine Waters. I'm just reclaiming my time. I'm just reclaiming my time. And you notice as soon as whereas before they were letting other people speak, they're speaking over her every time she opens her mouth.
Manifesting it if I live in that life and if I live in that world every single day. You don't have to live the life that I do. So you cannot say I'm manifesting it if it's something that's in my everyday natural world.
Would you guys agree with the blanket statement that Trump supporters are racist? Do you guys agree with that?
To an extent, yeah.
So yes, the answer is yes.
So let's go back, to Trump. Who here thinks that Donald Trump has done something positive for the Latinx community, the Latino community?
His prison reform affects minorities in a positive light, not just African American community, but also Latinx communities as well. His reform for the prisons has.
Anyone else?
Yeah, let me get in there. Even in this, I hate the reduction of all our problems to criminal justice reform. The left does it, the right does it, the center does it, everybody does it. That reduction is horrible to me. Absolutely. It's a big issue. Don't get me wrong. It's a big issue. but you cannot reduce everything just because I let a few Negroes out of jail. Now I am Jesus Christ himself walking on all the water. It's a bunch of bullshit. I just wanted to put that in there. Anybody else got anything on that?
Yes, I do. And also this was late last year. So this is before Latinos got an Economic Empowerment Act. So I want everybody to go Google the Latino Empowerment Act, and also Google the Asian Empowerment Act under Donald Trump and the Asian Empowerment Act under Barack Obama. All other parts of WePOC are getting executive orders and legislation, and Black people are getting told to shut the fuck up. So y'all need to start looking at this stuff. So when we come to you and we say you want some shit, you be like, you just want a handout. I want you to start telling that to these other groups too, because I'm tired of you just talking to me, because everybody else is getting something. The only difference is you don't notice when other people get stuff. You only notice when Black people do, and that's anti-Black.
Absolutely. Mud, you got anything?
Nah, she said it.
Cool. Big John?
I look at it from an American perspective.
Nah, let it play. I ain't got nothing.
I'm not here as I moved here from Colombia to be in America. I'm not trying to continue to focus on Latin American problems because I live here. So when I look at what the president is, whether it's him or Obama or whoever comes next, I'm looking at it as, what is he doing for Americans overall? Is he cutting taxes for us, the middle class? Because there's a lot of Latinos that could fall there, obviously in poverty as well. But
White Colombian lady. Basically, I'm trying to say, like, this is a white woman in Colombia. Like, this woman was a white. This is a white woman that for me that translated herself from. It's basically a white American that moved to a different country. It basically say America. For me, say America was like a second, like a developing nation, and we had white people that was living the spoils of that developing nation, but they could move to England. If you say England was, for me, say Australia was doing better than America. If you like with all the opportunities and everything that you could have in the center of the country, they had the most powerful military and everything like that. It's Australia, so she moves there now. You know what I mean? She moves there, but she is an immigrant. She's
so you're basically saying she's a white person in her country.
Yeah, she's white. She's white. Yeah, so she's a white lady. So my whole thing is that you feel me when it comes to Latinos talking about how you feel me like real shit when it comes to Latinos when you try to group them all together. You feel me? She's Colombian. You feel me like this is a white lady in Colombia. This is this is a white woman. This is a family of ancestor conquistadors and shit like that. Like you know, I'm thinking people from Spain, like 110%. Maybe African blood, maybe. But at the end of the day, the way that the slavery was set up is different than the way our slavery was set up. Because, you know what I mean? First of all, Spain, the way they ran their slavery was like, you know what I mean? Like, think about it, because Spain, they come to the New World first, and Spain and Portugal was coming here first for so long, and women was not trying to make that. It was a rough journey. They wasn't trying to make that journey. Feeling like real shit, but slaves could make that journey. So they started mixing with the slaves and the people that was already there, raping them. You know what I'm saying? Like real shit, raping them women. And they wanted their kids to be able to inherit their whiteness. So that's when they started breaking down Druzins, opposed to America. You feel me? Like in America, where it was more, you know, I guess the capitalism, the way I feel me, where our society is set up, it's like, yo, real shit. I don't want, you feel me? Like the reason that our slavery wasn't brutal as how it was in Latin countries and Caribbean countries is because first of all, it was a long ass journey to get there. In the way our economic society was set up, it's like, yo, nigga, I could own this nigga for mad long. I could really triple my money. It was straight for me. That back of, for me, you talk about the capitalism and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, well, that's the things that with MG saying that we more far left. We understand how this economy works. Like, we understand that it needs to be more redistributive, and we understand that shit. We understand that we here because straight up for me, the American economy is straight up built off exploitation. That's why they didn't kill
exploitation of us. Yes,
yeah,
that's real.
That's why.
So
that's why they didn't kill my mama after they.
So
Let me jump
in, John. Let me jump in. So Latinos have John, let me jump in. So Latinos have especially like in Brazil and stuff like that, they have a phrase. It's called mejor la raza. It's called better the race, which means marry white people so you can blend out the Black in your bloodline. Okay, so that is part of their culture.
Yes, it is. It
Is there
is.
anything else anybody wants to jump in there? Wants to throw in there?
Not after that. Shit. Nothing
I
to
mean,
say after
yeah, I
that.
mean, she absolutely right. No, it is a part of their culture. Our culture was about survival. It didn't matter if you was, you feel me, mulatto or whatever the fuck you thought you was. It wasn't no quadrusion, the drusion, or you half native and half black and none of that shit. You was a Negro. Either you was a Negro or you passed for white. That's it.
Well, we did have a point in time when we did that. And remember, when we had people who could pass for white, they would go to Klan meetings and sit in and get all the information and report back to the darkies. So we worked together.
But at the end of the day, it's like real shit. It's like, real talk. Like, it be black people that could pass for white nowadays that they couldn't pass for white. You feel me? Like, that could pass for white for them, but that we always knew, like, that's a nigga and shit. Like, feel me? Like, real shit. That's how oblivious they was to it. Shit. Like, we already knew. Like, you feel me? Like, that's Uncle John. You feel me? Like, real shit. Like, they go Uncle Tom. That's Uncle Tom right there. You feel me? Like, real shit.
I'm gonna start playing. I'm gonna keep this back up, okay, John?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Unemployment is down for
This
both
shit
minorities.
fucked up though, man. Like, I don't like this shit. This shit fucked
Unemployment
up.
level of the Hispanic community is at the lowest rate it's ever been in the history of the United States.
That started before he was...
like a policy that affects everybody, not just designed for one group of people.
Right.
Like there's Native Americans that need help, they're...
I don't care for you to design
on,
something
like
for me because I'm Latin. I care that you do what you do for Americans because we're all Americans.
Yeah, like don't do it because of, the way I look or because of my cultural background, but do it because I'm here already, I'm working, I'm paying my taxes, do something that with a vision for the future that I can, that really benefits me, not just because you feel bad for me,
Right.
Someone want to respond to that? Is it important to do something because of...
All right, so this is what we often, this is
Sorry, hold on. Can I jump in real quick, MG, before you go? And I want you to, because I know you're gonna have a real thought, and mine's actually short. So I was okay with everything that he said up until he said to feel bad for me. I don't have a problem with people feeling that Americans should have a certain standard of living. I don't have a problem with that. I'm okay with what she had to say on that part. But when you start saying for feeling bad for me, but I agree because this country did not harm you in this country. Now, Latinos, if y'all want a reparations claim, you need to sue them for what they did to your country that forced you here. But I'm not going to do that work for you. So go ahead, MG.
So this is the refrains we often hear from the left, and it's all, to my mind, I could be wrong, but it's all rooted in anti-blackness, right? They don't want us. They want to make sure that everybody gets something and nothing's particularly for any group, right? They mean us. They mean us when they say that shit. Whether they want to say it or not, they mean us, right? Especially when he, like Sam noted, especially when he said, "Will you feel sorry for me?" Meaning that these poor black folks. he's obviously he's talking about us. These poor black folks. We don't want to feel sorry for you. No, there's a debt owed, motherfucker. And a specific group of people are owed that debt, right? Just like with Native Americans, just like the Jewish people who survived the World War II Holocaust. All these people got reparations. We haven't gotten it. So just to make a point, when you hear these arguments, we want to do something for everybody. So what you're saying is there are no specific issues that need to be addressed, but they'll quickly bring up other populations, right? So let's be clear, right? Even the fact that they're in a group as Spanish speaking people who speak 30 different dialects of Spanish, by the way, right?
Exactly, because Mexicans speak one form and people from Spain speak vosotros, and people from Brazil speak Portuguese, but they're all considered Latin.
Yep, absolutely. So I mean, this was I mean, let's be honest, this was constructed out of whole cloth, right? To counter us as a voting bloc. I mean, it is what it is, right? So let's and they don't vote as a voting bloc because
I was about to say, how's that working out for you?
Different. Because they're so different. But they are getting, like Sam said, they are getting legislative responses to their demands. We're not. That's a problem. So we got to get out of this, help everybody. There are a specific group.
And this is why we have to get reparations first. And this is why I say over and over and over again, reparations first, because for those of you guys who are like, well, I like when she says wealth redistribution. Why don't we just do that? Because if we just do that, you're going to fuck over Negroes. It's ingrained in your culture. It's ingrained in this whole system. And it's just part of who you are. And I know you want to be better people, but first thing you have to do with anything when you want to be better is you have to acknowledge like what your flaws are, and then you can work to improve them. But you pretending like you won't fuck over Black people if you get the chance is not helpful to us.
Nope.
So let's like keep it a buck. So you need to do reparations first, and then we can do wealth redistribution, and then everybody gets something. Like, I'm the most reasonable Negro you're gonna find. Like, my people are about to be in my ass about me talking about wealth redistribution for y'all. But like I said, I'm afraid of white people, and I don't want y'all running up getting y'all money back. Well, getting my money. Because that's what y'all have done in history. I can point out where you did it like at least 40 times in history. So it's not like I'm paranoid. And I don't see you as being much, and I don't see you as being much different than your ancestors. And I'm sorry if you hate that I say that. And this is why, again, I'm training my 20-year-old protege, because she still has more hope for you guys than I do. I'm a fatalist. I just fight because if I didn't fight, I would be the DC sniper. That's it.
Peace.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh yeah. Basically, this is why the Democrat shit is like their whole strategy on immigration is flawed. This woman is not coming here to be a Colombian immigrant. She's coming here to be a white American.
That's it.
So she's
and get
gonna
her
vote
bag, because she a bad looking chick. She gonna marry somebody with some money.
Yeah, I mean, and like a white American,
As she
she's gonna
should.
vote for Trump. She's gonna vote Republican. She's gonna do that sometimes because that's an option that white Americans have. So like, this is like,
and as a future rich white woman, she's voting in her interest.
Yeah, so Democrats need to figure it out. Like, I don't know what they plan to do with this immigration shit, but it's not, none of this shit is working right.
And it's time for us to start having sensible conversations about immigration reform, because we don't all have the same opinion. Like, just because somebody comes from immigrants or is an immigrant doesn't mean that they're automatically going to be for, immigration. So everybody has to come and sit down and actually have conversations so we can have sensible immigration reform. Like, we should be bringing people in on a needs base, because right now we have 30 million people unemployed. That's not xenophobia. That's not racism. That's facts. People can't feed their families. So how do you bring in more people when we can't feed the families of the people who are here?
You ain't lying about that, brother.
The whole shit is like, they see the shit just from a white perspective. Like, if you don't agree with the white lefties, then you must be a racist. Like, that's
automatically.
Like, you can only have one of those two perspectives. It's not like maybe I have a different relationship with immigration than you do because of, my place in society. So therefore my views are a little bit different, and maybe you need to like step out of your whiteness for a second and try to see it from my perspective. That's just not part of what they do. So it's either we fit under one umbrella of whiteness, or we fit under another.
Was that this is a white woman? I ain't gonna lie, real shit. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, she spoke Spanish and it was like, feel me, it's a spicy white adobo. it was a white
real
lady.
talk. My dad was married to one. She was the first person who ever called me a nigger, but she wasn't Colombian. She was a white Mexican.
Word up. This was a white lady to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a fuck if she had it turned brown in the summertime. It's like a Greek or Italian woman. They white to me. You white. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like, it's only a matter of time before they really get fully turned white. It's because they got a lot of brown family, because all that mixing they did, that was kind of, because they think about it, like, people that was mixed, you could pass property down to. In Black America, people that's mixed, if you ain't passed for white, you was not getting no wealth passed down to you. And if you did, it was hard for you to hold it if you couldn't pass. For real, you getting that shit stolen immediately. I don't care how, if it was a real African or Black features in your shit, you getting your shit, you was a Negro. I don't care how light you was. You know what I'm saying? Like, with them, they was passing wealth down to people that was mulattoes and making them a different class than other people that they had a real class system up and down, color system and shit like that. Well, in America, it was different. I say that we did have, it's real colorism to this day here in America, but it's different. It's different the way that society is set up. Our society is not, we don't look at like we don't look at other light-skinned Black people like they not Black. Nigga, you Black. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you got African features, you Black. But in Dominican Republic, nigga that's light skinned compared to the dark ass, that nigga, he is normalized. They normalized him a long time ago because he could own property and he could possibly own slaves, and if I'm like real shit, like it's different. So they come here and they act like it's all the same. That shit is crazy to me. I'm sorry, I had to say that shit. I didn't mean to say no. Like, I don't really care. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sorry, Sam. I'm sorry, Sam. I'm sorry, sis, man. I shit fucked up. They be doing this wrong. They be doing this wrong all the time. They be just doing the fact that we standing up. See that? Conservatives, they respect strength though. I give you that. They respect strength over anything. You feel me? Like real shit. Like the fact that you like, man, real shit, Sam, you like, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't care if you full of a Ronald Reagan. Fuck Ronald Reagan. Real talk. They be like, oh my Lord. I'm like, fuck him, fuck you, and fuck Joe Biden. But I really mean fuck both of them the same way. What up? Like they like, oh, can I talk to you, Sam? Listen, low tax cuts, and they can talk to you.
No, real talk. No, I have better conversations with like what people would think would be racist conservatives than I do with like white liberals, because white liberals just know everything. But I'm about to play this for y'all since he's gone. I'm gonna play this anyways because y'all will enjoy it because they be calling us xenophobes.
Oh, bullshit.
Oh, hold on, did I?
It's bullshit though. He's fucking talking. I'm saying like I don't.
He's so
sorry,
funny.
Man. That's why when I see y'all shit, the shit y'all put out, I shit just give me more. You feel me? I be wanting to chill. I be like, man, I can't chill, man. He's saying too much, just getting away with saying anything about us, man.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. No, it's frustrating for real.
I'm tired of that shit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
On the behalf of the Latino community that are here legal.
They really do not know.
As an immigrant from El Salvador, I strongly disagree that California is even considering sheltering illegal criminals that have broken the law instead of prioritizing our legal citizens. Look around on the streets. We have homeless sleeping on the streets. We have veterans without no food. We have children without proper care. Are you guys aware the California deficit went from 37 million to 300 million in just 1 year? We cannot afford to be helping illegal criminals. The use of our tax dollars to fund illegal aliens, it's prohibited by the Constitution of the United States. And I learned that when I became a citizen. Forcing the taxpayers in California to fund illegal activity is wrong. California needs to protect our legal citizens first.
Thank you.
God bless America.
Thank you for your testimony. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Comments?
Hey, well, what you got to say, cousin? But
I mean, shit, it sounded on point to me. Like, I know they're gonna try to play her like she's like Coon.
Is she a self-hating? Yeah, is she a self-hating El Salvadorian?
That's how they're gonna play it.
Hey, yeah. I mean, she had to really. I mean, she really
Are you
got
calling
her.
her Van
She got her. She got her shit through the muscle. She got her citizenship. Be honest with you. See that? You in California. Well, I don't have no real shit like you in California. So illegal immigration is a real it's illegal immigration up here. I got a better one for you. It's an issue. It's an issue across the country, but you in California, so you seeing the direct effects towards black. It's not like you demonize them, but you seeing the direct effects of letting people come into, to the country and how they affect the native black population. You seeing it up close. Black people lose homes, shit like that. You seeing shit up close, so that's different.
Yeah. Here's another go, and you'll enjoy this.
Good afternoon. My name is Dolly Cordeli Jimenez. I am a citizen of America. I'm an American citizen and from Honduras.
Ok, siento mucho tener que decirle a estas personas que están que están de acuerdo con las ciudades santuarias. Yo no estoy de acuerdo. Lo siento mucho, pero no puedo porque mis hijos son de aquí, mis nietos son de aquí, necesitan colegios y instituciones para que puedan estudiar gratis y no tengan que pagar.
I do not agree with sanctuary cities. I have nephews. I have children that need funds to attend school and facilities.
Además que en este país hay welfare, que tengo entendido que las personas que no son ciudadanos ni residentes de este país están recibiéndolo, hospitales que también los atienden.
I believe that this county provides welfare, and you do not need to be an American citizen to receive that, and they are receiving those services.
No entiendo también por qué ustedes no principiaron estas ciudades santuarias antes, cuando el señor presidente Obama, que fue el primero en deportar, separar familias, destruir negocios.
I don't understand why you didn't begin this sanctuary cities process. President Obama is the first president to split families and deport people, deport most people.
Sí.
Yup. This is why I let them speak for
He deported a lot
themselves.
of people. So what the fuck? At the end of the day, when it comes to deportation, man, I don't want to hear that shit, man. If that shit ain't about black, it don't matter. If I'm like real shit, they deport people for different reasons. It's not. To be honest with you, it might favor us, and I understand like now because you feel me like real shit, like but he did the tax cuts. So even if you're talking about if I mean a low level of unemployment with black people. Our wealth redistribution is not increasing. I think that it is decreasing. Now when it's COVID, it been decreasing. Even when it was the economy was booming, when he was running on, I had the First Step Act, and now I got the tax cuts, and you got a job now. You know what I mean? I said it's decreasing then. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, yo, bro, our wealth ain't like yo, real shit. Everybody got a job now, and that's a dog. And that's a dog whistle. The white racists like I got niggas off welfare now. Bro, y'all, that shit like y'all got niggas on welfare. I got them working now. For $11 now? What the fuck you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so fuck you, Trump. So you feel me? Like, nobody can play me. You feel me? I don't let just because I hate them liberals and them leftists and I cut their ass. I don't let no right winger play me, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't let them niggas play me. Them niggas play a lot of games. They trying to play a lot. They trying to play big games. Right wingers trying to play big games with us because we on Democrats' ass. But
I think they think we're as stupid
as
they are, or because some of these people, I'm like, do you think we're just dumb? Like,
yes, yeah, absolutely. They make me stupid as hell. They do.
Like, I don't think people realize how much like we read and like how smart we are. Because sometimes I just feel like they just think we dumb. Like I said, for that like 28-year-old white boy to tell me, "Oh, I always thought you were pretty, but I didn't realize you were smart." And he had already told me you had read, but you told me you haven't read a book since high school. So who are you to tell me, a person who hasn't read a book since high school, how smart I am?
That's that California shit. I don't know. I don't know. I ain't Jersey. I ain't gonna lie. Motherfuckers are straight attacking. Act like you. Where I'm from, it be Negroes that are straight for me to be on your ass and be like, yo, I'll read what you read. And like, I read this. They'll really read it. See, that shit different than the white dude just saying like, nigga, you read. Like, that's mad racist. That's mad racist. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But you know, but the funny thing is, somebody like that wouldn't even realize something like that's racist.
Yeah.
That'd be the gag. Because when you call them on their racism, they just clam up.
Yo, time out. Yo, Mud, yo, you in Minnesota, cuz. I'm not gonna lie. That shit like one of the most liberal racist traits on earth. Like that, I mean, real shit.
Probably
like
outside
I don't
of
know.
Portland, yeah.
The real shit, like Minnesota been blue for 80 years, bro. But I don't want to go there for something. Like I want to go to the big mall, and that's it. I want to leave. Real shit, like after George Floyd, I really don't. I always want to go to that big ass mall and get on a roller coaster in the mall. That's it. I was like, real shit. That's the only reason I wanted to go there. I don't want to go there, nigga. You over there, nigga. I know that shit. I know that shit rough. I know that shit rough, bro. God,
it is, man, because it's like everybody's bullshitting you. Like they don't know what's going on. They call it the Minnesota nice, like where everybody is pretending to be nice, but it's all bullshit. They really just hate your fucking guts.
Right. You talking about them Swedish, you talking about them Swedish, you talking about them Norwegians and all them. You talking about them niggas that eat them nasty ass food. You talking about them niggas. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like Minnesota, that shit, man. That's crazy. I know it's one of the most liberal states in the Midwest. I know that shit's super racist, and I don't want to go there. Like I don't really want real shit like. You know what I'm saying?
Like I had to really rethink about immigration because like it really is like they're trying to hide their Negro problem by just allowing all these immigrants, especially like Somalians, because now it's like, well, how could you say we're racist because we're taking in all these Africans,
refugees.
Word up. Like that's the game they're playing.
They did all of that for Ilhan Omar, a woman who is tortured by racists constantly, for her to say about the Black American population that they were jealous of Somali immigrants when she was asked why Black Americans didn't support her more. So instead of addressing the fact that she has not built a relationship with the native Black population, she blamed it on jealousy, even though Somali refugee immigrants get services and programs that Black people do not get. So it's because of those services and those programs that she can come here in the 1990s and be a congresswoman today. If she would have got the Negro treatment, you wouldn't know who she is.
Yeah, I mean, in Somalia, their whole thing has been like this whole time is that we're not Black, we're Somalian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I already know. Like they're not going. Yeah, bro, they're not going to them 3 neighborhoods left in Minnesota that niggas had moved to in 1920 that he still got a stronghold on. That shit probably look definitely real weird. Or them Black communities in Somalian or refugees or some other communities, and there's hella crackers out there. You know what I'm saying? That shit, I ain't gonna lie, Minnesota, you in the whole different. That Midwest racism is crazy, son. Nah, I ain't with none of that shit. Like LA got Sammy dealing with LA racists on the West. Out there with New Jersey, it's hella racism here.
I deal with Joe Biden racists. I deal with covert racism here. California is very covert. But remember, California has a lot of sundown towns, and when you go into those towns, you can still feel that you're in one, even though there's Black people around, but you feel that you're not wanted. You feel watched.
Yeah, real shit. In California, hell yeah, it's hella racist, man. That shit a big ass state. You know what I'm saying? That shit, you already know the urban shit. That state is huge. Like, so that shit is real rural too. It's hella fucking forest out there, bitch. Any place that is forest at, nigga, you get to the forest of any state, nigga, that means you in trouble. Any state in the country, bro. If you get to the rural part of any fucking state, I'm talking about the New York, upstate New York, you leave Manhattan, New York City, you go to any state in the fucking union that get rural, you Black, bro, you might be in some trouble, son.
Listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again, we grilling them. Put them back on the grill again, we grilling them. Put them back on the grill again, we grilling them. Back on the grill again, we grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redlining lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one. Cousin mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire. Anti-Black we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country. The win. You need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.